Hello, welcome to Step Up Insider Micro Training. Today, we're going to dive into why project planning is so important. So, first of all, when I say project, I want you to understand that this is your idea, your program, your event, anything that you're applying for funding for is a project. And so we package your idea as a project. We have a start date, an end date, we have a budget, we have a timeline, we have a need, we have an impact that occurs around this project idea. This can be internal, external, we'll go into a little bit of that. But the importance of project planning all happens in advance of writing an application. And so often I see organizations react. They live in the react zone, as in a deadline comes up and they think, oh my gosh, what can we apply for? Oh my gosh, there's $20,000 available. Oh my gosh, we need to start applying to this. We need to come up with an idea for that. Instead of taking a step back, a few steps back, to really understand what the organization needs to be successful at this moment in time. So there's a tendency for organizations, especially really excited and innovative organizations that are passionate about the work that they do. They want to do everything. They have lots of ideas, and it's really hard to sort of zone in and stay centered. And so what project planning does is help you stay on track and stay committed so you can take those micro steps towards the bigger vision, the bigger mission that you are trying to have in community. When you don't take that extra time to plan, what you do is, as I said, you're reacting. You consistently react to funders and funding opportunities that come out instead of aligning what your organization needs with the funding that's available. So it shifts the dynamic when you plan in advance because you're no longer chasing funding, you're actually aligning funding opportunities with your organizational needs. So this can really help in an insane way to manage your resources effectively. So the first piece of project planning that is really, really, really important is understanding what needs your organization has. So these can be capital needs, operational needs, programming needs. Maybe you have a new initiative. Maybe it's related to capacity building for your organization, something that is going to help you plan better, execute better, be operationalize better. It's the opportunity to see how can we improve as an organization? What does our organization need to fulfill our mission? What can we do better to serve our community? And it's brainstorming all of these ideas on the front end. And then it takes that extra little bit of strategy to identify, okay, what now, out of these ideas that we have thought of, what is our priority? Where do we want to focus our efforts? And these efforts can apply to your fundraising plan across the board. Some might be related and best supported by grants. Others might be best supported by donors, etc. And so I'm not going to go into the details on that, but take this big overarching view of what are your needs? What does your organization need to be successful? Then we can start narrowing those needs down to priorities so we can focus on where to start aligning grant funding for. I do this with clients quite often. It's project development support. I help with the brainstorming, I help with prioritization, and then we really dive into the details of each priority need. And so some of the pieces, once you've narrowed your funding ideas, your funding needs, then you're going to want to gather a few more details. You can do this in a very deep and detailed way, or you can start at a high level. But some really key components that you want to understand is how much funding you're going to need for this project idea. How much funding do you need to raise? How much funding do you need to contribute as an organization? Is there money that the organization can contribute? These are questions you get to ask to ensure that you know how much funding you need to raise or ask for from a funder, because we don't want to be going to a funder that only has a $10,000 grant to fund a $50,000 project. Or if you need to raise $250,000, we don't want you to have to go to 20 different funders to get to your funding goal. So it's being a little bit more strategic, again, of where you focus your efforts. The more details you have in place allows you to determine where to place your efforts when it comes to grants. Another element that you really want to spend a little time thinking about is the need. The need around your project, whether this is internal to your organization or external to your organization. What is the need that you are trying to address with this potential project idea? And what change is it going to have? So these are two layers. What is the change, or what is the need? How have you identified it? And then the flip side is, what change are you going to have? What is the impact you will have in community or in your organization? And so often we think we're responding to a need, we're coming up with really innovative ideas, but we lack evidence of why that's a need. So we lack the involvement from our communities, from our members, from greater society, that we think this is a good idea, but do we know it's a good idea? So taking a little bit of that extra time to gather evidence, gather data, is going to help make your need that much stronger. The impact piece is the implementation part, the evaluation piece. How are you going to track if your project was successful? Do you have the tools to do so? Do you need funding for those tools? Often grantors will fund these pieces, but if you don't know you need them, you're probably going to forget to ask for them. So thinking about that implementation and the impact piece, again, in advance, allows you to put some of the details together to understand what is going to go into the execution and measurement of your project. When you take the time to plan in advance, and yes, this does take time, and yes, I recommend doing this, stepping away from writing grants for a period of time. If you are a volunteer board, if you are a small organization, if you don't have somebody that is responsible for grants full-time or at least part-time, this is more integral than ever. This piece will help you substantially focus your efforts and keep you from spinning your wheels and applying to every grant that comes across your desk, especially for organizations that are on the smaller side, that have lower capacity, that don't have a lot of time. The more focused you can be in where you put your grant writing efforts, the more success you're going to have, and you're going to use that time more effectively. So taking a little bit of a step back from writing grants for a period of time and really establishing what are those funding needs, what are those priorities, what is the need you're addressing in community, and what impact are you trying to have? Think through those pieces, and I guarantee you will drastically improve how you utilize your resources and improve your grant success rate. I hope this was helpful. Looking forward to the next one.